Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Whew. It's too hot out here for this. It's like the hottest day of the summer. Like 85 degrees. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating. Out of breath. Oh my gosh. As you can tell, this whole running thing isn't for me. But also, it's week 4. Welcome back to the fish pond. My name is Ryan. Wow. We're talking about personal health today, physical, mental, and spiritual, and how to keep your health balanced in college. Whew. But I'm not gonna spend all of my time talking about this. I brought a couple friends on to talk to you about this today and their own personal journeys. Oh my goodness, whose idea was this? Ugh. Anyways, I'm gonna walk this next lap. Gosh.
Balanced health is important in college because college is stressful. There's a lot of things that may not go your way, they may go your way. There's just a lot of ebbs and flows and ups and downs, and so to be able to have a balanced life, to be able to feel balanced, it makes your college life that much better, but it also just prepares you for real life. Whenever things are up or when things are down, it allows you to build healthy habits for the future.
Yeah, I think balancing the 3 areas of physical, mental, and spiritual is super important to just your overall thought process and the way you go about things, how you make relationships, how you are committed to your everyday activities, your schoolwork. If you don't have a balance in all 3 of those areas, you're gonna be out of whack in some area.
It's important to look at health in whole, because just because you're a fit person doesn't mean you're mentally sound and things like that. You need to make sure that you take care of yourself as well as your body, because it's all just like a big gift and you need to make sure that you're taking care of it.
Number one, my diet, the freshman 15 was very real for me. It was more like freshman 30, I think. But with that being said, there is so many different ways that physically, you might not even realize you're physically staying healthy by doing them. So for example, I have a dog, and just going and walking her to a park, that's something I've really enjoyed doing lately. And even throughout the time that I've had her. And I got my dog my freshman year, and that was something, I'll talk about her, about other health related things in just a bit, but her need to walk and go outside, it helped me have to go outside. And that's something that I think outside time in general is just so important, because you're not feeling as lazy, and it helps with the mindset.
So one thing I've kind of realized, especially with everything moving online this semester, that I've kind of realized that I didn't before, is just the kind of physical activity that I get when walking to classes. And so when I get up and I'm walking to class, if I'm walking all the way across campus, that's getting my body moving. And so just kind of finding small ways, because I'm a really busy person, I don't always have time to get up and work out or go to the gym, and it doesn't have to look like that to stay physically healthy. It can mean not sitting down for 10 hours while I'm studying, but taking breaks to get up and walk around, or to stand, to walk across class, to walk across campus, to walk to the counter and order a coffee, to not always just be sitting for those long periods of time, can really help.
The little things is what counts. Walk instead of taking the bus if you have time, or take a Via ride. Just do something that keeps you active. Don't be afraid to use stairs instead of an elevator. In terms of eating, only eat when you're hungry, because I know it's really easy if you're cooped up in your dorm studying to just get bored and want to just snack on something, but get something that's not a lot. I choose sunflower seeds all the time when I'm studying, and that's something that you're eating and it's keeping your mind active and your mouth active and stuff, but you're not actually taking in a lot. So just like kind of be aware of yourself and take like the little steps that ensure that you're not going overboard.
I think that it's important, like for you and your roommate, it's really easy to have them to hold you accountable, and it's hard sometimes to just want to go by yourself to work out or like just keep yourself active. So having that person or even a group that you can just be active with like on the weekdays or the weekends, it's makes it easier to like keep up with your physical health.
So I personally work out 3 to 4 times a week. In college, I hopefully can work out more because I'll have their classes, and so I'll be able to just structure it like a normal class. But I always make sure that as I'm creating my schedule for the next semester, that I have budgeted time to work out.
My emotional health has been something that I used to just kind of bury for the sake of my mom and my brother. Like I'd always try to be the strong one, and so all throughout high school I buried that and wouldn't really show emotion, which if you know me now, like that's not how I am. Like I love to show my emotion. I try to wear it on my sleeve. Like that's something I do a lot of now, but that took a lot of reflection. That took a lot of learning the hard way, because whenever I'd bury all that emotional stress and just thoughts and things like that, and that does play a role into your mental health as well, because then you start to overthink, you start to wonder like, is this the right thing to do or should you let it out? So emotional and mental health do go hand in hand a lot. And I think my struggles have not been as severe as anxiety and depression, but when you tend to bury some of your emotional stability and your emotional thoughts and whatnot, it can cause your mental health to just downfall. And so whenever everything hit me at once freshman year and my dad passed away, like that's when my mental and emotional health both kind of caught up with each other. My emotional health was terrible and my mental health was okay, but they go hand in hand. And so that's why it is so important, I think, again, to balance those like we talked about earlier, because when you focus so much on one and you don't pay attention to another, it can hurt it tremendously.
So one of my friends has always said that how your bedroom looks is kind of a reflection of how you're doing mentally. And I've kind of definitely noticed that if I'm not doing well, then my bedroom is a complete mess. My bed's not made, my clothes are everywhere, things are all over my surfaces and my countertops. And so one thing that I try to do is clean my room. If I just take an afternoon or even just 30 minutes to clean my room, to spend time to myself and do something for me, that's not benefiting anybody else, it's not benefiting my schoolwork, it's just taking time to do something for me. And so when I kind of notice that my room's getting messy, then that kind of makes me think, okay, what areas am I struggling? I'm not focusing on my mental health enough. And so just taking those times to kind of recognize those signs. And so that looks different for everyone, but just recognize those signs of, okay, when this starts happening, that's how I know that my mental health is kind of starting to struggle or kind of starting to fall behind and not be on my priority list.
I primarily prioritize it by allowing myself to have people around me that are for me, where I can talk about things that are bothering me. So if I feel off on a day, I know that I can call someone or go have lunch with someone or meet with someone and talk about how I'm feeling. And I think that being aware of your feelings and be able to be vocal about those feelings with people in your corner or in your circle, it's huge.
I'm not a very emotional guy, so I kind of put that at the bottom when it comes to health stuff, but I do think that it's important, because if you don't take care of yourself mentally and emotionally, it can lead to depression, which I had some of that coming into freshman year, and especially my first semester, and that can make doing school a lot harder, finding community a lot harder. And so if you are able to focus on that and make sure that your mental and physical health is good, then that will help the transition into this new lifestyle go a lot more smoothly.
I think the biggest thing for me is if I'm not good, then my relationships aren't good, and just checking myself okay, if I'm not pouring into this aspect of this relationship, what is wrong in my life that I'm going, what am I going through currently? And just having a mentor or just somebody who can talk to about it, and just that relationship and having those people and being completely honest and truthful of where you're at, and that way they can just help you just know okay, she needs help in these areas and I'm going to keep her accountable. And I have many people in my life who do that, and I know people who don't have that and they are just struggling a lot and they need that accountability.
I mean, for me personally, spiritual health is the biggest, the most important part of a balanced, healthy life. For me, I want to make sure that I'm in the Word consistently, that I'm in Bible studies or small groups, or I'm in relationships with friends that are uplifting and we are talking about the Lord a lot. And more than that, just talking about how I'm doing spiritually and where I'm at and where they are at in return.
Spiritual health means having a quality relationship with God in and of itself. So it means spending time with Him, reading His Word, praying, spending quality time with community who are pushing you towards Him. And it's not going to look perfect by any means because we're human, but it's just like a good spiritual health is you striving for that, not you doing it perfectly.
Being strong in my relationship with the Lord and knowing that like my hope is in something else other than my current whatever, whether that's homework or tests or church or jobs, whatever that is. Your outlook on that is so different because though that stress is still there, though that busyness and the chaos is still there, your outlook on it is so different because you're not putting your hope, you're not putting your identity, oh my gosh, I just failed this test, my whole, freshman year's ruined. Like, it's such a different perspective on it because you're not putting your hope and your identity in that and you're putting it in Jesus.
I think honestly, being able to be fed from your community and like feel that relationship with God and in you and just like feel sound in where you are at the moment. I think that's the whole idea as a whole. Because if you are like reading your Bible every day and being around people who are going to like encourage you, you're going to feel more in control of everything and being able to like put it all in like God's hands and being like, hey, like He's got me. I don't have to worry about like this test coming up. Like I don't have to worry about like for me like getting into vet school and like all this other stuff. Like yes, I need to make sure like I'm studying and putting my best effort in, but as a whole it's just kind of like I know that it like whatever happens is going to be for a reason, and like as long as I'm putting my best effort in, it's going to be okay.
For me, coming into college, I found myself feeling alone a lot of times because I didn't have my family, or I just felt like I wasn't really living up to the expectations for myself. And so having that like strong spiritual health, it just like gave me like, I just knew I could rely on God and like go to Him with everything, and like knowing that brought me a lot of peace.
There are times, like there are definitely seasons or just weeks, when I say seasons, like that can be 1 week where I feel like I'm walking really close with the Lord and I feel like I'm just like leaning on Him, being super dependent on Him, having that constant conversation with Him, and just feeling like I'm hearing a lot of answers to prayers as well, and just kind of noticing those things. But then there will be times where I feel like I like look at the situation and think, okay, God is absent. But in reality, it's because I'm not focusing on my spiritual relationship and my spiritual health. And so like when I kind of start to feel like God is being absent, that's when I know that I'm not making that enough of a priority, because He's never absent and I know that. But when I kind of start to think that way, that's when I know that I'm not making that enough of a priority.
I wish I would have known coming into freshman year that it's super important to make an appointment with the Lord, and like setting an appointment into your schedule and making that a priority, and that when you put it in your schedule every single day, you know it's going to get accomplished and you know you're going to get to it, and that you aren't stressing about, okay, like I can't fit this in today, and like, oh my gosh, I didn't meet with the Lord today, or I didn't do this aspect of my quiet time. And if you make an appointment and you set a certain amount of time for that, then you know it's going to get accomplished. And so that has just been huge in my life the past year, and just knowing how to do that.